Hey y'all, I'm Mandy, and this is the Eye Behind the Empire, where we talk about what's really going on behind your business. I'm a fractional COO and tech strategist who believes freedom starts with clarity, and if your backend's a mess, you'll feel it everywhere. Because what you can't see might be what's holding you back. Let's fix that. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Eye Behind the Empire, the premier podcast for CEOs growing amazing businesses. Speaking of growing, growth is funny. Everyone wants it, but no one really talks about what it reveals. Because the moment your business starts evolving, the systems you built back when things were, smaller, they don't magically evolve with you. And any business owner who's been at it for a while and has, seen their business scale and grow, you know what I'm talking about. And that's when things start feeling heavier. You're doing more, you're juggling more, and you're wondering why it suddenly feels harder, even though you're technically doing better. I mean, we we have all been there. And what I've noticed over my many years of working with various businesses from various stages, they don't break because the idea was bad or the demand wasn't there. They break because the back end wasn't built to support the next version of the business. And the tricky part is that you usually don't notice it right away. You start compensating, with more effort, more manual work, more late nights until something finally gives. And so today I want to talk about how businesses evolve, how systems don't. They don't evolve with you unless you intentionally update them, and what it actually looks like to build back-end support that grows with you instead of holding you back. So, growth is very exciting. It really is. Watching, this thing that you started from infancy, just this small little glimmer of hope of idea in your brain. Oh, I'm going to do this to, growing to, making your first $100, to signing your first client, your, first, whatever your pricing range is, making your first six figures, hiring your first team member. Oh, it's just so exciting. Unless you've never done it, like it's just hard to explain the type of excitement. And it's all great and wonderful until it exposes the cracks behind the scenes. And I mean, like I said earlier, most businesses don't break because of bad ideas. At least in my experience, that's not what I've seen. They break because their back end can't keep up with their level of growth. And like I said, systems don't automatically evolve just because your business does. I I mean, I guess I can't say I wish that it would, because then there wouldn't be people like myself. So it's kind of good that they don't automatically evolve, but I do intentionally try to set up my clients' businesses where the evolving can happen somewhat automatically, but also maybe only needs like minimal human involvement. Because, I mean, that just makes sense to me. I mean, I, I don't know. Maybe other OBMs view it differently, but that's just how I view it. And I mean, if you think about it, when it comes to your system, when it comes to your business, more clients, which is usually the goal, is to get more clients. That equals more complexity, not just more revenue. It's heavier load on the systems. And what worked when things were smaller often becomes the bottleneck later. Growth can introduce new variables. So this can be new offers, new team members, different kind of delivery, different kind of communications. I mean, I've seen people other coaches that were growing their business, and they decided, oh, with every new client, I want to send out like a branded journal in pen. That shit takes time to set up, to get sent out, to collect the information that's needed for it. It's not just like a couple things that you can do. You got to collect the correct address. You got to make sure the order gets put in. You got to make sure, what kind of delivery are you going to do? I mean, there's little nuance pieces to it, and that creates additional load on the business, on the systems, on the team members. It's part of growth. More stuff you got to address. And so some common signs I'd say that your systems are maybe a little outdated or could use a little bit of a review. My goodness, I was all tongue-tied there. If you're doing more things manually just for now, quote unquote, just for now, um, that's usually a sign of where like either you have something new in place, and rather than setting up an automation or something, you're like, oh, I'm just going to manually do this. Or I've seen things where maybe something isn't quite working as desired. So you're like, oh, I'll just manually handle it for now. And what you don't realize is, I mean, that just takes more time. And then eventually you'll eventually find yourself making exceptions to do other things manually if you start down that path. If you avoid touching your tech because you're afraid something will break, I hear that all the time. Most of the time when I start working with somebody, they're like, I know 1,000% that I need these systems and processes, but I know nothing about tech. And then once it's set up, I don't want to touch it because I don't want to break something. Which, I mean, yeah, you could probably really go in there and fuck some shit up. But it's really not that bad. But I'm glad and very thankful that my clients love me and trust me to take care of all those things for them. And it's one less thing for them to have to worry about. They fully recognize that tech is not their superpower and that it is my superpower. And so therefore, they're perfectly content with me taking care of it. But if you have reached the point where you're like, I know my tech needs some adjustments. I know that there are some things that could be tweaked in there, but I just really don't want to do it because I'm afraid I'm going to break something, or I just really dislike tech, or it's going to take me 15 hours to try to do one thing. And at the end, I'm probably still not going to have it figured out. It may be time to talk to somebody like myself or something. There's obviously something there that needs to be addressed. Just saying. If you keep getting the same question, if you have a team, I'll say, and you keep getting the same questions from your team members, that could mean systems are a little outdated, or maybe you don't have a system in place at all where now you've grown enough and you need some sort of, how-to guide or whatever it may be. If your backend feels really fragile instead of supportive, your systems and operations aren't just like a little piece of your business. I don't want you to think of it as that. Like, it is literally the foundation of your business. It should be the concrete underneath everything that is holding you up. That is what your tech, your operations, your systems, that is what that is. It is not just some small piece off in the corner that does a few things for your business. No, it is the foundation, and you need that shit locked down. Like, you need it super strong. Another thing, if you're working harder but not seeing proportional growth, could be a sign that some things are outdated. So, 3 areas that I've seen that usually outgrow themselves first, mention like tech items. So your tech stack, tools, no longer matching how the business actually operates. your processes, mention those. If things are living in your head instead of being documented, I mean, this is really important when it comes to hiring team members. And I think I've talked about this on another podcast. I should probably just do a whole one about this in itself. Um, yeah, you can't really like hire somebody if everything is living in your head, because then they're not going to know what to do, and they're still going to have to extract it from you from your head at some point. So you might as well just document that shit now. It would just make everybody's life easier. And then third spot, delivery and onboarding. So if your client experience start to feel inconsistent, another hot topic, I keep saying I need to do a whole white glove client onboarding episode for this. You want your client onboarding experience to be amazing. It doesn't, when I say amazing, when I say white glove, that does not mean expensive. It means super consistent. It means them feeling held, them feeling seen, them knowing without a shadow of a doubt that they have made the right decision to work with you. Because while, yes, there's a lot of pressure on ads and copy and websites and all of those things, that's great. Yes. In order to bring your clients in, you need that stuff to be super amazing. But that is not where the super amazing experience needs to stop. It's actually the client onboarding that is where it really needs to be locked in, I guess I could say, because that experience that they have with you is a catalyst for a whole lot of things. So I will leave it at that. Otherwise, I'm going to get on my soapbox and go on, and we're going to derail from the actual topic. But anyway, so there can be, a couple, I don't want to dive into like mindset shifts for CEOs like a lot. If you're running a business, you know that there has to be mindset shifts when running a business. I think we're all aware of that. If you're not aware of it, you should maybe look into it. But I mean, just being a CEO comes with its own kind of mind craziness. Um, but some things that I've seen CEOs do, or some things that I've like had to say to them that they kind of need to think about, um, as to maybe why their systems are breaking or things are feeling a little bit more difficult, is set it and forget it. Does not work for systems. It absolutely does not work for systems. Let's see, systems are not one-time decisions. Oh, this is a big one. So they're ongoing assets. Like when I say that your foundation is your systems and your processes and all of that, like, yeah, they're not, your systems are not a one-time decisions. They're ongoing assets. They need to work for you now, but also in the future, because you're going to grow. Like if the goal of your business is not to grow, then I would love to talk to you to figure out why you're in business. But the general goal is to grow your business, and you need systems in place that aren't just going to work in the moment. You need them to work in the future too. And you do not want to have to sit here and continually change systems. That shit sucks. I mean, I've had to do it for my own business. I've had to do it for clients. I mean, sometimes things happen and you have to. Like sometimes it just happens that way. But you don't want to go through your business journey going like, it'll work for now, and if I got to change later, I'll change later. No. No, no. You do not want to have that mentality, because while it sounds super easy, it is not. There's a lot that can go into it. There's a lot that can get broken and messed up. Like, you just want to think of your Systems, like I said, ongoing assets, deeply integrated items that you want to make sure that you're making good decisions on. And then waiting until something breaks is literally the most expensive way to upgrade. So, I mean, that's why my clients have me, because I'm continually monitoring things in the background, just making sure things aren't breaking. When we are making changes, making sure that, hey, I'm going to make this change. What else is it going to affect down the line? Because I don't want to hit go on this change and have 15 things break somewhere else. So you need somebody in your business who's thinking that way. That's why I said in a previous podcast that you do not need an OBM that's like a task rabbit. You need somebody who's proactive, not reactive. And so yes, shit happens and sometimes things just break, and that's tech. That's tech and systems, that's operations for you. Unfortunately, life is life. But as a whole, you want to make sure that what you have set up is working continuously. You don't want to have broken links and, people unable to sign into things. You just don't want that. And so stepping away from those three mindsets is really important to help along your business growth journey, I'll say. And so another one. Oh, so I've had clients come to me and just say, well, I've just been patching things. Okay. I mean, patches work. I've honestly had to do my fair share of patches for things, and they work, but they will eventually fail. They are a band-aid. And we've all worn a band-aid, and those things don't, I mean, shit, sometimes those things don't even last an hour. So, I mean, it's not a long-term fix. And so that's also what you have to keep in mind is, yeah, we can patch something for the moment, but you have to develop a long-term plan for it. Workarounds can just create hidden complexity, and temporary fixes can most definitely become permanent problems. And I mean, if you think about it, duct tape systems cost time, they cost energy and money in the long term. And I mean, you don't, like I said, the foundation, systems, operations, tech, all of it. You do not want the foundation of your house duct taped together. That is not a good look, and it is not safe and stable. Think of your business the same way. And so you might say to yourself, okay, well, I mean, what do evolving systems actually look like then? Give you an idea. Well, it's reviewing systems after launches, after new offers, or when there are growth spurts. I mean, like I said earlier, whenever I'm launching something new for a client, whenever I'm, you know, making any sort of changes in a business, I think down the road, what else is this going to affect? You know? And so there's that. There's adjusting tools when the business model changes. So I've had clients that are like, I'm done doing one on one offers and I only want to do group. But the CRM that they have doesn't really support a group model. So we had to go figure out something else that would support that. I mean, that's what, evolving the systems looks like. Yeah, we could have kept the current CRM and then went and found some tool to use for group work, but that would have just been duct taped together and probably wouldn't have worked long term. So, just kind of think about those things. Updating processes adds team roles shift. I mean, some of you probably maybe don't have a team, or you might have maybe like one or two people, but I've also had clients that have 10 team members and still onboarding people. I mean, so those are things to think about when you have systems and all of that. You got to make sure that those are going to evolve to support additional team members besides yourself and maybe like one or two other people. And then designing systems for where you're going, not where you've been. And this is huge. And this is what I was talking about earlier. When I'm working with clients, I'm putting together things that work now and in the future. That's why when I'm talking to my clients and when you're talking to somebody of my caliber to, hire and bring in, they need to be asking you, where do you see your business going? Because yes, it's very important for me to know what's going on right now, obviously, but I need to know what's in your head. What do you have planned? What are you wanting to do in the future? Because that most definitely plays a part into every single thing I build right now. Because if you come to me with some idea, and this is where the collaborative approach comes in, I've had clients come to me with some idea that makes sense like now, but I'm like, but that's not where your business is going. You told me last week that you actually, want to do XYZ with your business. So is that really what you want to do? And then they're like, oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot. Like, yeah, that makes sense. So, I mean, you need somebody who's going to be thinking about these things. I didn't want to go build some shit that they were going to use for 4 months and then not even matter. We worked together to build something that supports where they're going, not just some quick little thing that they thought of. Okay, rant over. Now, what are some ways that you can future proof without overwhelm? Which this is a big one. So, um, I would say these would probably more so apply if you don't have somebody like myself in your business. Because if you have somebody like myself in your business, they should be constantly future proofing, like as best as they possibly can. So I'm going to say this is more so if you just don't quite have somebody like me yet, or maybe you're in between people or whatever it may be. Quarterly backend check ins. So, I mean, this is just kind of going over everything that you have. Is everything still working? Are you still using everything? Do you have 15 zaps that are still turned on that you don't even use? Then just turn them off. It's just, little things. An annual tech stack review. So, yes, you should have something, a Google Doc, a Google Sheet, a note in your phone, like somewhere, you should have a list of the tools that you use and how much they're costing you. Because I can't tell you the number of times that I've started working with a client and I'm going, do you use this tool? And they're like, I don't even remember signing up for it. And I'm like, well, you're paying about $350 a year for it. FYI. I mean, I'm not shaming them in any way. It's just they forgot. But they also weren't doing, quarterly or annual reviews of things. So it just kind of got put to the wayside. And I'm sure that charge would come through. They'd be like, oh, shit, I need to cancel that. Or I need to see what that is. And they would get busy doing many other things. And then they would forget. And then here would come the charge again. Oh, shit, I need to look at that. You know the cycle. You know it. So having somebody either taking care of that for you, or if you are not to that point, you taking care of it yourself can help avoid those items. A couple other things. Now, this could be more so for having a team, especially like a little bit larger of a team, is clear ownership over systems, like who maintains what. For myself, I just take ownership of, anything tech related, all like systems that a client uses, I take ownership of it for them because I'm I'm in all of them. Really the only things that I don't take ownership of would be like email copy or like social media stuff, because I don't do that. But a lot of the other stuff, the setup stuff, the CRMs, all of that, I just take ownership of it and take care of it for them. So, something to think about. Obviously, if you're a team of you, then ownership falls to you. But one day you will get to a point where that will not be the case. Promise you it is coming. And then of course, having a trusted ops or tech ops or tech person to, sense check decisions. Obviously that's part of the goal. But if you're listening and you're not to that point, then you're not to that point. But you will get there. So let's think about like reframing growth. I don't want growth to ever feel like chaotic or fragile for you. Growth should feel fun, and it should feel exciting, and you should be ready for it. You should not be scared for your business to grow for fear of a bunch of things breaking. I want you to think about right now, if you woke up tomorrow and had 5 new clients, what would happen to your business? Or if you had 10 new clients, what would happen? Or not even just in one day. If next week you onboarded 10 new clients, what would happen? What would happen in your business, in your systems, in your life? Thinking about that will really put into perspective for you all the manual things that you handle, because you're going to sit there and go, oh shit, I'm going to have to do a lot of things to onboard all 5 to 10 of those people. And that right there will give you a pretty good indication of things that need to be fixed, or things that need to be, I don't say fixed as in they're broken. I say maybe, tweaked or optimized. Um, because you would be growing and you want to be prepared for that. That's what I try to prepare my clients for. About that 5 to 10 range. If they were to bring on 5 to 10 more clients, I don't want their business to break overnight. I want them to be ready for that. And if you are constantly making sure that you are prepared for that, then each time as you continue growing, your business is ready. I mean, there may be a few tweaks here and there that you have to make, but shit's not going to break completely where you're like in some meltdown call with me because in an illumination intensive because everything is broken. I mean, just something to think about, because your business, it's going to evolve whether you plan for it or not. I mean, think about it. And the question is whether your systems will evolve intentionally or be forced to later. So think about that. You get 5 to 10 new clients and you're trying to upgrade shit, that's a lot. That is a lot. You just only want to be doing the 5 to 10 client onboarding. You don't want to be dealing with all the upgrades. I promise you. I promise you. Future you will always thank present you for upgrading the backend before it breaks. I will leave you with this. If this episode hit a little too close to home, take that as information, not judgment. I am not judging you at all. I never judge my clients. I love when y'all come to me with a mess because I love to untangle it and I love to get you set straight and ready to go. So I just hate seeing people in a bind because then I feel bad, because I mean, it sucks. I mean, I've had my own business in a bind before. So, I mean, it happens. I think every business owner goes through it. But growth is a signal, and your systems should be listening. Start paying attention to where things feel heavier than they should. because that's usually where the next upgrade belongs. Before your next launch, hire, or big decision, pause and ask yourself one question. Are my systems built for where I'm going or where I've already been? That answer will tell you exactly what needs attention. You don't need to overhaul everything overnight. Please do not feel that you need to do that. Please do not start stressing. Just think about these couple of things that I've said to you and write it down and take it all in, and you can make a plan of action. Just notice where you're compensating with more effort instead of better systems. That's always the first place to look, in my opinion. This podcast exists to help you see what's happening behind the scenes of your business. And in the next episodes, we're going to keep pulling back that curtain because clarity is what actually makes growth sustainable. If you want help seeing your back end more clearly, that's exactly the work that I do. You'll find the details in the show notes. And until next time, take care of the systems that are taking care of your business. Thanks for listening to The Eye Behind the Empire. If today's episode helped you see your business more clearly, be sure to follow the show and share it with another CEO who needs it. And if you're ready to turn your hidden brilliance into operational freedom, visit illuminaops.com to learn how we can make it happen. Until next time, keep your focus clear and your empire aligned.